time to invest in Torrey Craig is amazing. And you should take some time to look into your investment portfolio with Robinhood. Robinhood is an investing app that lets you buy and sell stocks, ETFs, options, and cryptos, all commission-free. They strive to make financial services work for everyone, not just the wealthy. It's a non-intimidating way for stock market newcomers to invest for the first time with true confidence. It's simple and intuitive. There's a clear design with data presented in an easy-to-digest way. Look, I'm a big fan of Robinhood. I think that it just makes life so easy. You can just use the very simple user interface. The user experience is fantastic. The little search bar at the top makes life so much easier if you're looking for specific stocks, if you're looking for specific areas and industries. It really is terrific. The values of Robinhood are that there are no cost and commission fees. Other brokerages charge up to $10 for every trade, but Robinhood doesn't charge any of those commission fees. You trade stocks and you keep all of your profits. Like I said, the design and ease of use is fantastic. And you learn by doing. You learn how to invest as you build your portfolio. You discover new stocks and track your favorite companies with personalized news feeds. And there are custom notifications for price movements, so you never miss the right moment to invest. Robinhood is giving a free stock. It's giving listeners a free stock like Apple, Ford, or Sprint to help build your portfolio. Sign up at gametheory.robinhood.com. That's gametheory, GAMETHEORY .robinhood.com. Gametheory.robinhood.com. It's really just a terrific way to get into investing. Dieter, where do you want to go from here? We've got the world as our oyster. Do you want to keep talking about the Nuggets? Do you want to talk, about we've got the Sixers on the depth here?
Yeah, let's talk about this Sixers depth thing. Let's go sad, and then we'll get happy again.
So yeah, the Sixers have depth problems. This is not whenever you trade two guys like Robert Covington and Dario Saric, who are both starter quality players, for one, it's going to create just less depth on your roster overall. The problem is that they didn't have a whole lot of depth to begin with, mostly in part, I would say, due to the fact that Brian Colangelo left them really hanging this offseason.
A little bit.
By getting into a spat with burner accounts.
Collars up, baby. Collars up.
Yeah, that's just a normal size collar, folks. I don't really.
News slant.
But look, I do think that the problem here is that Colangelo kind of set the front office back on its heels a little bit. This wasn't, and also they wanted to keep their books clean potentially for this offseason as well. So they were only looking for 1 year deals as opposed to maybe spending a little bit more and, filling out this roster. I think that they'll try and do that this summer more than they did last summer, but that doesn't help them right now. And right now they're playing Wilson Chandler like 25 to 30 minutes a night, and he's not really helping them at all. Like Amir Johnson looks kind of cooked to me, and Mike Muscala hasn't really helped them in the way that they were hoping when they got involved with the Carmelo Anthony Dennis Schroeder trade. And like Markelle Fultz continues to be a thing.
Is he a thing? He's
a story, that's for sure. And then like Landry Shamet is playing probably 20 to 25 minutes a night, it seems like right now. And, a guy that can play in the NBA, certainly, I think he's proven that. Yeah. But it's, he's not ready to play a big role yet. And like a lot of these guys that I'm mentioning too, they're not defenders at all. So really you have all of Jimmy and Joel and Ben who are really, really good defenders. But if you and I know anything now, it's that whenever NBA offenses look to attack a defense is really only as good as its weakest link now. Yes. And it's really hard to have like a super elite defense. When Jimmy, Ben, and Joel are all on the floor, the Sixers defense is awesome. I think it's like right around like a 101, 102 defensive rating. But whenever one of those guys leaves, it becomes really, really difficult for the Sixers to kind of, defend anyone really.
And it's not as if the offense is really kicking into a higher gear to make up for it. So they're at best treading water, and most of the time they're giving up ground. This is this team's Achilles heel. And frankly, I don't know what they can do at this juncture to make a serious upgrade to a bench that frankly needs it.
Well,
You got any ideas?
The move is probably looking to trading Markelle Fultz. They say that
That's
they
an
want,
all-time sell low.
yeah, they want like a high first round pick for him still. I don't really understand that move, but
Nope.
okay. Um, and then like you try and like aggregate like Wilson Chandler and some of these other guys. Like it's just hard. Like
It doesn't seem to be an option.
yeah, like they're in kind of a bad spot until the buyout market hits. And the buyout market is
They cleaned up on the buyout market last year, let's not forget.
they did really well. They got Urson Ilyasova, they got Marco Bellinelli. Like a guy like if Dwayne Dedman doesn't get traded to anyone, he makes a lot of sense to me as like
That's
a backup center.
Same with Robin Lopez.
Yeah, like Robin Lopez, sure. If they end up buying him out, sure. But like I think teams might actually prioritize those guys and give up like a second round pick for them.
Right.
I don't really know because more than anything, and like someone brought up yesterday on Twitter, should they sign Austin Rivers? And my answer to that is no. And the reason I say that is because they need guys who can play both ends. They don't need like one-dimensional offensive guys. Like, and really they need shooters. Like you might be willing to deal with a one-dimensional guy if he's a shooter and someone like you can just trust to consistently bang home 40% of threes. But like Austin's not going to do that and he's not going to defend. So, and he wants the ball in his hands and you have both Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler. So like, what is the appeal there?
There really isn't. I mean, and this is the conundrum. I think a lot of people, including and maybe the Sixers more than a lot of people, to speak generally, thought that the Jimmy Butler thing would be the thing that got them over the top. But you give up a couple of assets, you lose a little bit of depth. You're asking a lot of guys who frankly haven't shown it yet to step up, and that's dangerous territory because sometimes a spade's a spade. Like I don't know if Wilson Chandler's going to step up. I don't know if you can get anything out of him here. Like it's just, it is what it is. And being top heavy in the Eastern Conference is not a good thing to be. The teams are too damn deep. And if you're top heavy in the Eastern Conference, you're probably closer to the Pacers than you are to the Raptors and the Celtics.
Well, like here's the deal too, though. Like it's not like they're hemorrhaging games, right? Like
no.
12 and they're fourth in the East right now. But the problem is that the reason that they're not hemorrhaging games is they're playing Ben Simmons 40 minutes a night. They're playing Jimmy Butler 37 minutes a night. And Joel Embiid is like still, second, I think, among centers in minutes right now. So like it's a problem. It's a real problem.
It's not good. It's not good. And ultimately, we've been seeing some separation with the Celtics getting their act together. We know what the Raptors are. I think maybe I'm higher on the Bucks than most, but we can all agree that they are an elite team in the Eastern Conference. I like their NBA Finals chances perhaps better than most, who are probably picking Raptors or Celtics at this juncture. But it feels like there's a little bit of a separation happening between those top three teams and the Sixers, who were in theory supposed to be that fourth team in the mix. And I don't know what the correction that needs to be made is, honestly, but something's got to change.
Just wait until the buyout market hits at this stage. Or like Markelle Fultz gets a healthy shoulder.
Yeah, anything with Fultz is not worth holding your breath for.
Right. Like I agree. So I just don't know what they should do at this stage. And it's
waiting for the buyout market is a really tough game because yes, it will certainly help you in the latter stages of the season if you make the right move, and then you have a good team going into the playoffs. But it's a bit of a crapshoot. You're praying that the guy that's available wants to come to your team over X, Y, and Z. You don't really have a lot of control. You might feel like you do, but you really don't. And you're really hoping for cohesion late in the season, and that's hard to do.
So like the other case here would be, you know what, the East is really bad. You'll make the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
Just like play your guys like a minute limit and, deal with it that way. But if you think you're really competing and you have Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons, so I think that they probably should think that they're competing.
I would hope.
The road is so much easier if you stay in that top 4 seed range, right?
Right.
Like, or really in the top 3, I think, because if you avoid all of the Pacers, the Bucks, the Celtics, and the Raptors, and yeah, I'll throw the Pacers in there. I think the Pacers are really good.
Yeah, they're the hottest team in the league right now.
Right. You're playing one of Brooklyn, the Pistons, the Hornets, or the Magic, or the Heat, or the Wizards, or something like that in the first round of playoffs. And like you're getting out of the first round if that's the scenario. And then you only play 2 of those teams, like the Raptors, Celtics, Bucks, or Pacers, instead of having to play 3 of them. And that
you're not getting through 3 of them.
This
team is not getting through 3
of them. I think it's really hard to get through 3 of those teams.
It's hard enough to make the case that they'll get through any of them right now, much less 2.
Yeah, so they're in a weird spot. I think it's worth like kind of pointing that out, and I don't know where they're going to go from here, to be honest. Do you have any further discussion points on that?
I feel like this Fultz thing is going to end up being a touchstone NBA moment.
In what way?
I feel like a lot of stuff over the next. We have no idea how this thing resolves itself, but you think about what the Celtics are doing. If the Celtics, they seem to have started to figure it out. You look at that trade with the Celtics to get Markelle Fultz to the Sixers. I just feel like so many things over the next few years. And again, not knowing how this ends up, but you can just imagine the circumstances. If Markelle Fultz is indeed considered an asset that they can't use anymore, or somebody that cannot contribute to a championship contending team, sort of the butterfly effect of all of that is going to be absolutely fascinating. And I think it will be one of those touchstone moments where you go, and if they had not made that trade, or had Markelle stayed healthy, or something to that effect, it will always be this grand what if that could have serious ramifications, not just for the Sixers, but for the entire Eastern Conference and the entire NBA for years to come, because mystery is intriguing and we'll always be thinking about it.
Right. And like like Candace Buckner wrote about Markelle and like the people around Markelle in the Washington Post. I want to say like late last week.
Yes.
And like it just painted a photo of, like, to me,
it's fucking weird. It's fucking weird.
Not even like weird. It just painted like sadness to me more than anything. Like that's
accurate.
Yeah,
it's true. It's true.
It's a huge bummer that this kid like is 20 years old.
I feel for him. And it sucks that we talk about it sucks, but the paradigm of the situation that we're in is that we discuss him like he's not a person. Like I understand. I can never possibly personally relate to the situation, but like I feel for the guy. At the same time,
the other complicated factor about that particularly is that like his mom plays a critical role in all of this. Like, his mom is probably not helping the situation. Like we can pretty much say that. I think
it was fair to deduce that from the article, and Candace is as balanced and fair of a reporter as there is in any realm. So if you're drawing that conclusion from her reporting, it's a fair conclusion.
Right. And like you hear stuff around the NBA too. Like she's probably not helping the situation. But
no, the security cameras in the house is a lot.
And like the NDAs and stuff. Like she's making like non-disclosure agreements. But like I also like sympathize and like empathize with her, because at the end of the day, she's just trying to like help her son. And I'm sure her immediate defense is,
right,
hey, I should help this kid, right? Like
he's 20 years old. He's got so much thrown on him. It hasn't worked out according to plan. There's so many ways this can go wrong. There's so many influences that could affect this in a much more negative way. I would probably, if I was in the same situation, I'd helicopter the shit out of that thing.
Yeah, no, it's really, really impressive and really, really difficult to kind of wrap your head around, and like, I say impressive because like it's just a lot of factors going on.
It humanizes the whole situation, which is hard. It's easy to forget the human element of all of this because we're playing a game. It's a high stakes game, and he's just a guy sitting at the table in theory. But it does humanize it. It does make you feel something. That is, it was a fantastic article. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend you do read it on the Washington Post. It does bring a side of the story that frankly we fail to talk about, and I think the entire general media fails to talk about, which is the flip side of it. Now, to be fair, it's harder to tell that story than it is to spout off about, you know, how weird shit is and the Sixers problems and all that stuff. But uh, yeah, it's a very sad mess.
Yeah, no question. It's just a bummer.